Well, good morning, everybody. Please take a seat. We're going to have more people coming in today, and welcome everyone to our first annual Stanford Gynecologic Cancer Research Symposium, organized in the honor of Dr. Jonathan Berek. We actually started to talk about such a symposium about a year ago, where we thought it was time to bring together those bright minds that are focused on gynecologic cancer research. And you would be surprised how many of our investigators have a strong interest in advancing the science in gynecologic cancer, and we certainly need you. So we are here today with a program that I hope you will enjoy. To the many speakers, we feel very honored that you participate today. We recognize that this takes time and effort. But foremost, we are very grateful for the work that you do, as it is so important to improve the life of our patients and their families. As physicians, we see firsthand on a daily basis the challenges and unmet need of our patients who are looking for better therapies and better diagnostics. We have made some significant progress over the last 2 decades in gynecologic cancer treatment, but there's still too many patients that die from ovarian, endometrial, cervical, and other cancers. So we need you, the scientists, to continue unravel the biologies of our cancers so that we can design better therapies. We together will take those discoveries from your lab to the patients and develop these new treatments. This means hope for our patients, and hope is what they so desperately need. Our scientific program today, as you have it printed out on your tables and available online, it spans a variety of topics from epidemiology, pathology, genetics. We'll talk about some innovative treatments, including CAR T cells today. Our intent is to inform, educate you and ourselves, to stimulate some interactive discussions and hopefully come up with ideas for collaborative research. To both the attendees here in the room that can be here in person and the many attendees that are dialed in online, wherever you are, thank you so much for your participation today. We truly appreciate your time commitment. Our sincere gratitude goes to the Stanford Cancer Institute with Dr. Steve Artandi. Thank you for your great support. You've always been an advocate of women's cancer research and women's cancer treatment. Also to the Stanford Women's Cancer Center, our Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology with our chair, Dr. Leslie Subak, and the Under One Umbrella organization, which has so greatly supported our cancer research over many years. So thank you for providing us with the opportunity for this symposium today. And thank you for everybody who helped organizing this symposium, including Dustin Schultz, the former assistant of Dr. Jonathan Berek, Helen Wang, Lily Marzocco, who is here in the back of the room. And then the program committee, including Dr. Brooke Howitt, Aaron Rankin, and Kirsten Bixel. Thank you for providing advice. So this symposium today is organized in honor of Dr. Jonathan Berek. Dr. Berek is the Laurie Krauss Laker Professor at Stanford, and he has dedicated his entire, I might say, unparalleled career as a gynecologic oncologist and researcher to improving the outcome of patients with gynecologic cancer. He has many credits, including the founding director of the Stanford Women's Cancer Center. He's a former chair of the OBGYN department at Stanford. He has many awards to his name, including Lifetime Achievement Awards by the International Gynecologic Cancer Society and the American Cancer Society. He has trained countless gynecologic surgeons and has provided much mentorship to many students, fellows, and residents, I might say, including myself. And Jonathan, I do know that without your mentorship over all these decades and your very close friendship, I would not be where I am today. So thank you. So this event is dedicated to you, and you're here with your wife, Deborah, today. And if you may stand up for a moment so that we can recognize you, Deborah and Jonathan. So Give them a round of applause, please. So it's now my very distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Phil Pizzo, and he said to me, you don't have to say much, but his has a long list of accomplishment. He's the former dean of the Stanford School of Medicine, and he was dean at the time that Jonathan Berek was chair of the department. So Dr. Pizzo, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much, Oliver. First, let me start by adding you to the top of the list of the people who's really made this event possible today. From your contact last year to all the nurturing that you've done today is really a wonderful contribution. And thanks everyone else who's really made this so successful. So I'm really honored to be here today to honor Jonathan and Deborah for all the work that you've done. Jonathan has had an indelible impact on Stanford, and since he's joined this community 2 decades ago. So it's also important for me to say that I had the opportunity to recruit him twice. First for the chair of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and then about a dozen years later for the Distinguished Careers Institute. It's important to also put Jonathan's recruitment into context. I arrived here in 2001. It was a time of tremendous change at Stanford, largely because of the failed merger with UCSF. Everything was in turmoil, and it was an opportunity to really seek ways of making a difference. We needed to kind of reshape the future, and Jonathan became one of the individuals who really helped to do that. In 2004, Mary Lake Poland, whose chair you hold, made the decision that she was going to step down from her role as department chair after 15 years of service. And I asked Linda Shortlift, then the chair of the Department of Urology, to lead the search committee to find a new director. I asked them to think about the qualities that would really make a difference for a future leader. Someone who had an exciting vision, who had proven leadership, who had unwavering integrity, excellent communication skills, who is known to be collaborative and engaging with great interpersonal skills, who is committed to research, who had commitment to and excellence in clinical medicine, and competence in the complexities of healthcare delivery at this time, at the time that we were also beginning to mentor. Someone who would be a great mentor and advisor, a program builder, and also the ability to lead a philanthropic campaign. We were just getting started with the Stanford campaign at that time. And Jonathan was identified as a candidate for very good reason. He had already a remarkable career. He started out being an English major and theater arts major at Brown. He went to Johns Hopkins and got his medical degree there, then did his residency in Boston at the Harvard schools. And then in 1981, as you know, came to UCLA, where he had a number of relevant roles. He was chair of the College of Applied Medicine, chief of staff at UCLA, and executive vice chair. Those were important contributions, but I needed to really know that he had the other attributes that I described as well. And so I visited Jonathan at UCLA and spent a day with him walking the halls and talking to those who he worked with to really affirm that he was who he seemed to be. And he was. He was beloved there. People knew him, cared about him, really valued him. And to me, that was really an important really set of attributes. So what happened? He joined us and became the chair, which he served in from 2005-06 to 2017. When he came, it was a time of a lot of transition. There were other chairs coming into their roles. Rob Jackler was the new chair of a new department of otolaryngology. Bill Maloney in orthopedics, Frank Longo in neurology, and Bev Mitchell, who would prove to have such an important role in the cancer center, all joined. And there were searches going on for the Department of Medicine as well as pediatrics at the same time. This was an environment in which Jonathan excelled. He had all of those attributes, and he really made a difference. And Deborah, you contributed to that in very significant ways, for which I'm grateful. In addition to what he did in the department, he also led programs in continuing medical education. He founded really the Women's Cancer Center, which has become just such an extraordinary place. He became the first incumbent of the Laurie Krauss Lacob Professorship, and he played an important role in the approval of the Stanford Cancer Center, an NCI designated center that Steve now leads. And he also created Under One Umbrella, which has raised probably upwards of $52 million to date. Really a great contribution. Now, after all of the things that he did in Stanford medicine, I then had the opportunity, when Jonathan was thinking about his next steps, to recruit or evaluate and assess and determine his suitability for joining the Stanford Distinguished Careers Program. He was a member of the third class in 2017 of a program designed to look at people who were in transition, moving from one portion of their lives to the next, building a new life around the restoration of their purpose, building new communities, recalibrating their wellness. And Jonathan was again unique. He had all the values that really made a difference, and he contributed immeasurably to the success of that program, which has now had so many other classes to date with hundreds of alumni around the world. But Jonathan stands out among them for his incredible contributions. And while he was doing all that, he still sustained his connection to the Women's Cancer Center and all of those other derivative programs. So I want to thank Jonathan because he's really been a person for all seasons. His contributions have touched every part of this community, both here at Stanford and literally around the world. They, of course, included the faculty and trainees that he recruited in the department, the faculty and leaders he worked with across the university and around the world, and the members who he helped to fulfill their dreams. And Oliver, you spoke to that, and you're one of those, and you've done such a great job yourself, and thank you. But especially true to the patients that he served, both here at UCLA and elsewhere, and to his unwavering commitment to research excellence, to clinical care, and to really making a difference. Jonathan, you have made a difference, and I'm so pleased and honored to be here with you today. Thank you.
Dr. Pizzo, thank you for your wonderful comments. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Steve Artandi. He's director of our Stanford Cancer Institute. He also serves as the Senior Associate Dean for Cancer Programs for Stanford School of Medicine and as the Chief Cancer Officer for Stanford Healthcare. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Oliver. Good morning, everyone. What a great event this is to learn more about the science of women's cancers and to honor Sir Jonathan Berek at the same time. And Oliver, congratulations on pulling this terrific group together so that we can all learn together. I want to start by, there's not much more I can add, first of all, to Dr. Pizzo's beautiful introduction of Jonathan, but I just want to say that, you know, it's an honor to celebrate my friend and colleague, Dr. Jonathan Berek, who is not only an outstanding physician scientist, but also a leader, innovator, and Renaissance man. So I won't go through too much of the biography because that's been said, but I would just like to highlight a couple of things. The Women's Cancer Center that Jonathan created is such an important entity on campus and allows us to really bring a lens to focus on the important problem of gynecological cancers and breast cancer. Let me just talk a little bit more about Under One Umbrella, because that is a highly unique program at Stanford University that Jonathan helped to create. So many of you may know that this began in around 2009, and it is fueled by some incredible events every 2 or 3 years that Jonathan puts together. And I have the latest data on the benefits of Under One Umbrella. So it's raised $74 million, an extraordinary amount. It has funded 75 clinical trials in women's cancer, raised 3 endowed professorships, funded over 100 innovation grants to physicians and scientists at Stanford Cancer Institute. The funds have been incredibly important in recruiting faculty to work on breast and gynecological cancers. And importantly, the way that Jonathan runs this is that he's able to use his deep connections into Hollywood and the music industry to recruit A-list talent to these events. And I'll just tell you some of those people whom Jonathan is pals with and also brings to these events, and they often perform for us. Nicole Kidman, Keith Urban, Trisha Yearwood, Garth Brooks, Sheryl Crow, Amy Grant, Darlene Love, Harry Connick Jr., just to name a few. So you may know that Stanford does not typically support these type of events. It's not how we raise money, but this is the exception to the rule that is one of the jewels in the crown of the Stanford fundraising efforts. So in addition, you may know also that Jonathan is an avid documentary filmmaker. You've probably seen many of his films if you've been to these types of events. They're on a variety of medical topics. He works closely with medical development and for the Stanford Center for Health and Education. And for the past many years, Jonathan has been a senior advisor to me at the Stanford Cancer Institute. I value deeply his counsel, and we've worked closely on program building and recruitment of faculty to further buttress and advance the cause of women's cancers. Even some recruitments that are ongoing right now in real time. So just want to say thank you, Jonathan, for all that you've done and all that you do for us. And I enjoy the day. I know it's going to be an exciting one where we learn a lot about women's cancers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Those were fabulous comments and show you how Dr. Jonathan Berek is so multifaceted. So before I hand it over to Dr. Aaron Rankin to moderate the first scientific session, I want to give you some other fun facts because Jonathan Berek is not only a clinician. He, 40 years ago, proposed that we can treat ovarian cancer patients with immunotherapy. He published to the month 40 years today a study that looked at the effect of interferon alpha in patients with ovarian cancer and actually showed responses. When you read these slides, it says that you looked at natural killer lymphocyte cytotoxicity. If that sounds familiar to anybody, well, that's exactly what we're doing today. So at this time, not a lot of people believed that immunotherapy would work in any cancer. He was one of the pioneers of this type of treatment. He published many other studies that used interperitoneal, for example, bacterial lysates that were really breaking ground and led to many other studies. He also published data on the induction of certain tumor suppressor genes in ovarian cancer cells, looked at toll receptors. So a whole list of many articles that all studied the immune system of ovarian cancer. His latest masterpiece is actually this. This is a new proposed classification of endometrial cancer staging that now includes not only the clinical aspects of endometrial cancer and the distribution of the disease, but also takes into account histologies and molecular parameters. This was published in 2023 and was work that he did as the chair of a FIGO subcommittee. So thank you for all of you've done for our gynecologic cancers. So keep in mind, he's a pioneer for research and he's not retiring. I want to make this very clear. You would think that somebody like him with a deep stack of laurels can sit on them and relax for the rest of his career. He's not doing this. He actually was just elected as a president of the Stanford University Phi Beta Kappa. He took this as of September 1st, 2025. And Deborah, I don't know what you think. We love to keep him close by and continue to work with us. I also want to mention he's a family man. You see here many, many years ago, Deborah and Jonathan getting married. On the other side of this slide, and he shared this with me last night, what he calls the 3 favorite girls. Yes, on the right side is Nicole Kidman, who has become a very close friend. She's a supporter of the Stanford Women's Cancer Center and a honorary chair of the Umbrella organization. Those are his children here. McClay and Fiona are the grandchildren, and here's Jazz, Andrew, James, and Patricia with Deborah. So he is a family man, and we certainly wish that with everything you do, that you will spend enough time with your family, Jonathan. So with that being said, I'm now handing the microphone over to Dr. Rankin. She's going to moderate the first scientific session and introduce our keynote speaker.